Yeah, I think one of the toughest things for both of us when our parents got a little bit older is that we had to convince them time to sell the house.
It's tricky and it's sensitive. There's just a whole lot wrapped up in that.
Yes.
And so we wanted to bring on Nancy Jones with Compass Real Estate. She has a special designation to help seniors with their home sales. And so Nancy, we're glad to have you with us because I think this is it's a touchy subject and a really important one because you're dealing with most people's largest investment that they have is in their home.
Yeah.
Very true.
So Nancy, let's just start with, what are the things that we need to let our parents know? Say in our situation, we were doing a little bit of convincing and prodding, but there are going to be some of our parents who just know that it's time to sell because they want to move to a retirement community, or maybe they're moving to downsize and be closer to where their children are. What are the things though that we need to let our parents know in that circumstance to help them be prepared for selling?
Well, we need to really talk to them and listen to them. We want to dispel their worries and their concerns and their fears because this is a huge move for them. And say they're going to move to a retirement home. Well, it'll be a huge transition for them to leave their own home where they've maintained that home, taken care of it, probably lived there for a long time, to move to a retirement area where they will be living in a smaller area and around people that are like them and activities. And you need to really, really push the positive side of that and what a great transition that will be for them at that time of their life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know with my mom, I kept saying, no more cooking. There'll be 3 meals a day. And so that was convincing. And
right.
She loves all the activities. And so that was a big selling point, but she was living in a home by herself. And so it just really was, and she couldn't drive anymore. So it became isolating.
Yeah.
So really push the positive.
And when it's assisted living, you really want to get the kids involved, don't you?
Yeah, you really do, because if it's assisted living, that means that the senior client is declining mentally or physically, and they really can't live alone anymore. They really can't stay in their home anymore. And so they're very fearful. And you have to really spend a lot of time talking with them, being patient, talking about how they'll be taken care of, and there will be someone there to meet their needs 24 hours a day. So you also need to push the positive, and the adult children also need to be reassured that you will be there to help them every step of the way. Where they might have already found the assisted living facility, and that will make it easier. But if they haven't, then me as a senior real estate specialist can certainly help them find the facility that will really meet their parents' needs.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the transaction and all of the moving pieces that are involved in that, why is it important to have somebody like you or somebody who has that specialty?
Well, first of all, I really feel like a senior real estate specialist has to have extra compassion, empathy, understanding, knowledge, communication, all of those things that you normally need. You need to have all of those and a lot of patience. And so it takes a lot, but you have to have the resources, because what are they going to need to do to sell their house? Are they going to need someone to help with decluttering? Are they going to need somebody to help with repairs, moving, whatever they need? I have those resources. So the adult children are very busy. Their lives are busy. They usually have children. They're working. Mm-hmm. They really depend on me to help them in this process because they really don't have time to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds kind of silly, but my dad was an accountant, and so he knows a lot about money. He handled a lot of money with the company that he worked for. Mm-hmm. And yet when I was convincing him to sell the house and knowing that we were going to be moving my mom eventually into memory care, I said, look, okay, we sell it for X amount, and whatever we get, now divide it by the amount that's going to cost for mom to be in memory care, and look how many months that is. Do you almost have to spell that out with the kids and or the parents, just to show them the benefits for, look, this is going to take care of mom and dad, or mom or dad, for months, if not years, because of selling the house?
Yes, you do. But you need to know so much. You need to have so much information.
Yeah.
So at that point, I really think you need to bring in other resources, legal people, tax people. If they have accountants, definitely bring them in, because there are just too many details involved when you're talking about the money aspect of it. You can help them in general, but the main thing you want to do is help them get the best price they can get for that house, so it will go toward paying for that parent.
Right.
For that care.
And do you find that some people, if they've lived in that house for 30 or 40 years, maybe they haven't done a bunch of renovating recently.
Right.
Are they worried about spending money up front and not realizing that they're going to get some money on the back end because of selling it?
Yeah, they will. They'll worry about that. And so you really need to have to work with them on those things and explain to them what really needs to be done to get the best price for this house. I mean, that's where we have our expertise. We know what they need to do. Do they need to paint? Do they need to fix that plumbing leak? Do they need to fix the yard up? Whatever really needs to be done to get the best price for that house. And I think once you can explain to that in detail to them and why you need to do it, they're usually willing to do it. So.
Well, and it sounds like too, there definitely are some things that are unique to selling a home at this stage of your life, depending on if you are downsizing or if you are moving to a retirement community or if you're doing it for health reasons. It just seems like there's a lot of implications depending on which route you're going. And so it's definitely helpful to have somebody that's helping you navigate this process, both for the adult, the parent, as well as the adult children too.
Right. Definitely. There's so much involved because they have so many belongings and so much furniture, so many things they've collected through the years. And, very diplomatically, you have to work with them explaining why they can't take all of that with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We moved my mom from a 2,600 square foot to a, what is it? 900 square foot. And it's bedrooms, but it's just, and the scale, that's a whole other video, I think, because the scale is different. You can't take, a small apartment, you can't have the same size couch that you had in a house and, just different things like that. Well, Nancy, what else are we forgetting? Like what is maybe something, what's a question that as the adult children, that we are, what are some of the questions or things that we need to be talking with our parents about, and or if we're trying to work with a realtor?
Well, I think the adult child, first of all, needs to be completely confident that you have the expertise to help them get through this. And they may be facing a huge obstacle in that they may have to have an estate sale or something like that to get rid of all of the furniture and all of those collections that their parents have collected through the years. And so you need to be able to reassure them that you are there to help them with every detail from start to finish, because there's just so much involved. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, to help them sit down with the parent and talk about this so that they understand what's going to happen and that it's a positive thing for them.
Yeah, it's just tough.
It is.
It is. It's always hard.
I think a lot of times the kids, even though we have memories of whatever house mom and dad had been living in, that it's easier for us to say, yeah, it's time to sell, but it's harder for mom or dad, to say, oh yeah, I agree. It's usually harder for them to finally pull that trigger.
It is.
Well, and I think there's an independence piece that gets lost in there too.
Yeah.
That this is the home that they've lived in and, as you mentioned, maintained and taken care of, and now you're, on the one hand, the positive is you don't have to mess with all of that. There's some parts of home ownership that aren't so great, so being able to move into a place where you get your meals and they're messing with the yard and they're doing all of that other stuff. There are definitely positives to that, but I think there's got to be just some challenges with making that decision.
Yeah.
It's a big decision.
Yeah,
it really is.
Reaching out to a senior real estate specialist like you would definitely help. Correct?
Absolutely, without a doubt.
Yes.
So I'm here to help anytime.
Thank you, Nancy. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so many things to consider, and just, it's a difficult process. And if, as the adult child, you are in a different city or just working and taking care of your kids as well, then it's a lot to try to figure out on your own.
It's a big step. I know. And everyone has a different situation, a different predicament, different surroundings, different personalities, all of that. But I know that my mom and dad, when they finally sold their place, when your mom finally sold her place, both of them, both sets of parents, extremely happy.
Right.
And my dad to this day says, one of the smartest things you ever convinced me to do. Thank you. And your mom acts the same way.
Right.
It's a big step. And I'm not saying it's going to be perfect for everyone, but making that step and helping them along the way can really help.
Right. And unfortunately, some parents are more willing to listen. And that's maybe a topic
That's
for another. That's a topic for another video.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you have other ideas for videos as well, be sure to let us know.